Well, welcome everyone. This is Earl D, your host of Straight Out of Clothes, and we are back. And I can't. We've had a long layoffs, almost a little over a year since our last substantial podcast. But this podcast was an opportunity that needed to be taken advantage of. In case you all out there in the clothes-free naturist and nudist world have not heard, Young Naturists of America is going to be ceasing operation at the end of 2017. And I think that sent reverberation shocks all across the community. And I thought, boy, it would be really important for folks to hear from one of the founders what went into the decision and how this all came to be. And so I am excited to share with you and invite in on our call Felicity, who is one of the co-founders of the Young Naturists of America. Felicity, welcome to Straight Out of Clothes podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Boy, I got to tell you, Felicity, I was absolutely floored when I read the post on the website. And just because I've thought, boy, if any organization was making inroads and doing great stuff in the naturist and clothes-free community, it was Young Naturists of America. You all were so innovative when you came on the scene and were doing, I think, a fantastic job in engaging a new group of people in the experience of clothes-free living and the naturist life. So tell me, what brought this current situation where you guys are ceasing operation? You folks are ceasing operation. What brought that about? How did we get here?
Well, thank you for that, by the way. We did our best for 7 years, and at the end just hope that we had an impact and made positive change here. But yeah, we decided to close just this fall because it became too much for us to handle at this point. My partner has always been working overtime for this project and for this organization, and it's always like pushing us with time, energy, money. And it just got to the point where it was either like we need to put even more into this in order to keep it going and serve, an even bigger and bigger community, or we need to like step back and close it down. And yeah, that's how it came about.
Yeah, I can relate to all of what you're talking about. When I read the post and I saw, how difficult it is. I know how difficult it is to get people to sign on and commit to something.
Yeah.
And work with the leadership to pursue a goal or a purpose. That is a real challenge. So I can relate. For those of folks who are listening to this podcast and don't know about Young Naturists, you said it started 7 years ago. Tell us about that. Tell us about how you, with your partner, decided to start Young Naturists of America. What brought that about?
Yeah, I've told this story before, of course, and it was actually Jordan's idea to start this organization, and he asked me if I wanted to come on board and team up with him to do it. But his idea was originally about trying to bring more values and acceptance into the naturist movement, because it seemed like there was a real lack of that going on. You have clubs, and you still have clubs that discriminate, for example, and just seemed like people had lost sight of what naturism is really supposed to be about and based on acceptance. So we started out together, and also one of my goals was about getting more young people involved. I was just out of college pretty much at the time, and I had gone home to Rock Lodge, where I grew up, and that's a nudist club in New Jersey. And, there was often very few people my age there. And in general, it's been said, all the clubs, they really don't have many young adults at them. So, yeah, we set out with these goals to, bring our naturist philosophy into the mix and, create a new community of people who felt the way that we did about what naturism means and all that. So that's how it started.
So one of your goals was then to bring more values, acceptance into the naturist conversation, but also to reach more young people. Why do you think that other organizations and clubs have such a hard time engaging the younger crowd?
I really believe that it all boils down to a marketing problem. Most of them know very, very little or absolutely nothing about marketing. I mean, you can tell that just by looking at their website. It's obvious.
Indeed. I know exactly what you mean.
There's that. And the thing is, if these clubs, they talk about, we need young people, Well, it's are you even attracting older people? Are you getting new members at all? Because if you're not getting anybody new, then you really have a problem. And, it's really you could be attracting new members of all ages if you knew anything about marketing and how to advertise yourself and reach more people.
Sure.
And it's not just that. I mean, there's also issues with the way clubs are run, what they're offering,
Right.
But, young adults are used to finding every bit of information online, and going to this website that looks from 1995, and it's they look at the events, and there's just potluck written there, and Saturday night dance, or maybe weird things that they don't even know what they are, because clubs very much tend to not describe their events at all too.
Right.
Just a lot of problems there, and I've had my fair share of so I was just saying it's also an issue with clubs not being inclusive. They're not taking the right approach, and they don't even make it known that they welcome everybody, even if they do. They're not advertising as being LGBT friendly. Their customer service is terrible, because it is, unfortunately, at a lot of places. It's bad.
Oh yeah, you don't have to convince me of that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, given that you were bringing that kind of point of view to a naturist organization and trying to get people to respond to it, did you get any support? What kind of support did you get in your efforts from people in the naturist community, or did most of your support come from outside? Because one of the things I've noticed with our efforts is that we when we approach things the way we do, we reach people who may not even know what the word naturist means, but we don't always get a ton of support in that effort from people within the existing community. Does that make sense? What kind of support did you get?
Yeah, I mean, that's been our experience also. We've never gotten a whole ton of, like, a lot of support from the major organizations. There have been other groups that have been really supportive, like SCNA, the Southern California Naturists Association. I have nothing but good things to say about them. And of course, certain leaders within the naturist community, the Naturist Action Committee, we know some leaders very well, and they've been supportive. But like in general, to me, it's just like the organizations are not that much better than the clubs. And it's like, I don't even know if they really ever saw value in what we were doing, in the work we've done. I really don't. Because, yeah, we never really got much support. We were critical. I mean, we were critical of ANR and less so TNS, but we've been openly critical of them for certain things, and so have other people.
So do you think
because we want to see things improve? That's because we want to see things get better.
Right. Do you think that was that critique? Because I observed from a distance at first, but over the years more from a closer perspective, some of the what I would call critique that you brought to what was going on. Do you think that critique was perceived as threatening?
Yeah, it may have been at times. I mean, as a lot of people noticed, like when we first started YNA, we came out with this press release about ANR just because ANR was like notoriously unresponsive to any people in general. Just when people would contact them, they just wouldn't respond. Things like that. And we sort of came on the scene and just like called them out on it immediately. But we never did anything like that after that first time years ago. But I do think maybe not so much because we were critiquing them, but I think in general we were perceived by some people as a threat. And our goal has never been to replace the Nature Society or any other organization. It really hasn't. It's been like we want to offer something else that maybe people will feel like they belong to, like they would belong to, like resonates with them, and see how it goes, and hopefully make a positive impact on the naturist movement.
Right.
And do things the way that we feel that they would be better to be done. Just, doing what we believe in, and trying to bring naturism into the 21st century.
Well, I can just say right on or whatever. I'm hearing what you're saying, because I think that's a real challenge. You started, I know you had a couple of, maybe, I don't know what size they were, but a couple of chapters crop up across the country. How are those folks responding to the closure of the main organization, and what happens with their efforts?
Well, we had a few attempts at chapters in different states, but it just, for one reason or another, most of them didn't work out. We'd always get people contacting us about starting something, but a lot of times, like, people very quickly lose interest, or they figure out that it takes a lot more time than they actually have, or they figure out that they really don't have the time or energy or whatever to do what it takes.
I'm only laughing because it's just like I'm here. I'm nodding my head on the other line here, going, "Yep, that."
Yeah. So at some point we just stopped even offering to help people open new chapters of the organization, and we basically always told people, "Hey, we will support. We will help you promote your group. We will tell you how our experience has been, give you advice, all of that, but we don't want to open a new chapter and put our name on something and start, put all this time and energy into something only to have it not work out a month later. So
Right.
a few months later or whatever. So we just have a group. We've always had a group kind of active on and off in Southern California. And we had Concy and JP, JP
Right. Yeah.
does Act Naturally.
I know
So
them both.
Yeah, so they were kind of running the group. They took over, and they were disappointed when I told them. But they're going to, I believe, keep the meetup group there, and hopefully they'll continue to do events and shows and everything else they like to do out there.
Right. Tell me, Felicity, about your favorite thing that you were able to do or accomplish as an organization. And if you're listening, we're talking with Felicity from Felicity's blog, the co-founder of the Young Naturist organization, about the closure at the end of 2017 of the Young Naturists of America organization. So what was your favorite thing that you folks were able to pull off?
Yeah, there was a lot that we did that was really rewarding and really great. I like to talk about the gatherings that we had just because those were really great events we did over the years, and they always, brought new people, and the people that came, we started to have a core community of people that were really great, and
Sure.
we were doing all kinds of activities, slip and slide and fun stuff and workshops, yoga. And yeah, those were just, really amazing events, and people would talk to us about how they felt differently, how they were so thrilled to found a community that people like them. And yeah, it was just really, really rewarding to execute these events.
Sure.
But we've done a lot of different public stuff too. One of our goals is always to make naturism more mainstream and get it out into the mainstream more than it's ever been.
Sure.
So we were on an episode of Project Runway All Stars. That was our biggest TV appearance, I would say.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was an amazing experience. The people of the show were really great, and yeah, it turned out to be a cute little episode, and we were really happy about that. We always did, public body painting over the years.
Right.
And that was a huge thing in the city and beyond.
You all really, I think, accomplished what you just said, because you brought and initiated and were innovative in a way that none of the organizations that I can think about that exist have been. Most of their efforts have always been within the same circle. And you've brought this out with whether it was the body painting or the Project Runway or some of the other things that you've done that brought you into the public sphere. You really did an innovative job of initiating a new way to look at naturist and clothes-free life, because I think what we have right now are a lot of people who know about YNA and have explored or been around the edges of naturist and clothes-free communities have said to me that, the existing organizations seem very insular. And I think one of the things you all were able to accomplish was to bring that stuff out there. I mean, Body Painting Day, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, it just feels like it was something that was, without your input and availability and support, might not have gotten off to as big a thing as it has become. I really want to say thank you on behalf of those people who've seen the work that you all have done and appreciated it. Thank you for all the effort, all the energy, all the resources that you all have put into it over the past 7 years. In the last few minutes of our conversation here, Felicity, what's next? What's next for you and your partner? Jordan? Where are there any public-facing efforts that you're going to be involved with? I know that you are a very public and vocal feminist. Are we going to see you move and put energies in that direction, or what are some opportunities for people to maybe partner with you in the future?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that, by the way, about the work we've done. We've gotten a lot of appreciation, sad emails and notes, but appreciation also from people who've known us, and that's been really nice as we close out. But yeah, what's next? Well, I am going to be still blogging, and I can't promise right now that it's going to be how frequent it's going to be, but I do want people to know that our content, our articles will still be mostly available on our new website, which I'm hoping to launch. I do want to continue writing about naturism and the issues that we care about. And I'm going to be also publishing the Gunnison Beach photography project that we did this summer.
Okay.
Where we've been photographing and interviewing people who visit the beach in New Jersey there. Yeah, that's going to be up on the new site, I hope. But other than that, we have other projects, but I don't know if there's all that much that I can talk about just yet. But I have joined a lawsuit it's against Ocean City in Maryland.
With Ginger?
Yes. Yeah, Chelsea.
Chelsea, yep.
Yeah.
We've had her on.
Oh, good. She's great. She's an amazing activist.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm following her lead, entirely. She's originally from Maryland. Actually, no, she still lives in Maryland.
Yep.
And yeah, so she's leading this lawsuit against Ocean City with me and a few other women. And
okay.
We'll see how that unfolds. But okay. We're going to be, I don't know if I even said it, we're going to be, we're suing them for discrimination with the emergency ordinance that they passed so that women were no longer permitted to be top-free on the beach and in public.
Right, yeah. We followed that a lot and posted stuff on the website, and also we were talking a lot with Chelsea during that time. One of the things I love, again, she's another innovator who is not taking this, let's bash everybody over the head approach to experiencing what we are trying to validate. She's using a very serious, she's serious about her work, what she's doing in terms of bare-chested equality, but she's doing it by inviting people to experience something, and then if someone, reacts negatively, she's not trying to hammer them or anything. But I think she, like you folks, are the kind of folks we need in this effort. And so I'm excited to hear that you're partnering with her in that.
And she's really awesome. She's so dedicated and persistent. And you really need to be when it takes 3 years, to get a response from certain public officials. Yeah, she's really great in how she approached it too. But yeah. I've been a top free advocate, top free equality over the years, and that hasn't changed. I still feel really strongly about that issue. So, I plan to continue being an activist in that regard.
Well, one of the things I think that's interesting about that is you live in NYC, correct? You've got that legal right. But you didn't just say, "Oh well, that's not my issue." You're willing to partner with her in Maryland, in Ocean City, where she doesn't have that right. And I think that's the kind of thing that I think we need to see more in the Nature's Clothes Free community, working together to make things better, rather than just kind of doing everybody doing their own thing, and not supporting the other. And so I think what you're doing there and what you're talking about here and describing here is a perfect example of the kind of leadership that you brought through YNA, and that is desperately needed. I think if naturism and the clothes-free life is to be to get better in terms of how we engage the broader community.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Things definitely improve when people can work together and support each other, and do that no matter where you live in the country.
Right. Well, I want to thank you, Felicity, for coming on and just sharing with us the sad ending of the Young Naturists Association of America. I know I followed it from the very first day I saw that website appear and the Twitter feed and all of that stuff, and was inspired in many ways by your use of technology and your innovation and the way you engage people outside of the circle. So your reach went possibly far beyond where I think you really imagined it did. And I want to say I really appreciate all the work and the effort you and Jordan have put into it. I hope we can connect again. It was a pleasure meeting you. So I wish you all the best in the future efforts. So when you get that project, the Gunnison Beach project, out, maybe you can come back on again and share with us and promote that a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I'd be happy to. And thank you. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad that we got to meet at least one time at the festival, and, it'd be great to run into each other again in the future. But if not in person, the podcast is good too.
All right. That's great. Thank you. You've been listening to the Straight Out of Clothes podcast. And we've been talking to Felicity of Felicity's blog, the co-founder of the Young Naturists Association of America, which are the Young Naturists of America. I better get it right since it... we've been talking about the ending of the Young Naturists of America at the end of 2017. Felicity, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for being on air with the Straight Out of Clothes podcast.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.